this corner I have John Hart back. He just took second in the WNBF Intercontinental Pro contest, and he's natural. Now you guys want me to bring natural people on, and when I do, you say, "Oh no, they're juicing." He's not. They have to drug test you.
Yes. Yes.
Urine and blood, the whole deal, right?
Yeah, the whole works.
So you cannot go on stage until you've been drug tested. Mm-hmm. And everybody who I'll show pictures of this, was natural, and they were all in good shape.
Yes. Oh, very good competition.
I mean, ripped
and had muscle. I mean, it was very, very cool.
And it proves a point that you can train naturally. You don't have to do the juice in order to look good, in order to get big and get ripped and all that. Your diet's really tight.
Yeah, that's just it, Rick, is that, whereas a lot of bodybuilders, who aren't natural, let's say, they may go up 20 or 30 or 40 pounds in their off season. Mm-hmm. I, as well as a lot of my peers, being WNBF pros, natural pros, we end up staying somewhat like 10 or 15 pounds or less, close to contest shape.
All the time.
Yeah, and Zabo was one originally. I wrote about Zabo.
He was.
Yeah, Zabo was the original one who talked to me about staying actually under my contest weight. He didn't like that I went over it in the off season at all.
Well, the old school method was, way back down in Venice years ago, that it was a lifestyle, and guys stayed in shape all year round.
Right.
They didn't bulk up and gain 20 pounds and then try to lose it. They stayed hard all year round. They were always ready to do a show or do a commercial or do a TV gig or whatever. They just stayed ripped all the time, and their diet was clean. It was a lifestyle. It wasn't say, I'm going to put on 20 pounds now and then drop back down, because even when you do that and you put that weight on, it's hard to get it off.
Oh,
it's not brutal. Easy. It's not easy. You might put on 20 pounds in a couple of months. It'll take you 4 months to get it off again.
Absolutely true. And, the fun part about this prep in particular was that I'm not an endurance athlete. I consider myself a bodybuilder. That's why I got into, bodybuilding in the first place. I wanted muscles.
Right.
I saw pictures of you guys,
yeah,
from the 70s and 80s, and that's what I wanted to be. And so I'm not interested in doing a lot of cardio, which seems to be like a standard. People
didn't
say,
even do cardio back then.
Yeah, but these days, now, it's a standard.
Yeah.
That if they go pre-contest equals cardio plus diet and a lot of weight training.
Yeah.
And in my case, I detest it so much that really for this last competition, I only got in 3.5 weeks of cardio only because I had to. I use it as my last trigger to pull, or my last weapon, but I made all dietary changes, but I was only 9 pounds above my contest weight anyway.
Yeah.
So that's where I stayed all year. So
the cardio, for a lot of people I see in the gym, they do hours of it and they never look any different.
Right.
In fact, they end up losing muscle.
Yeah, it's bad. Weight training is number one.
Yeah, I think so too.
You have to increase that muscle to you still have a fantastic metabolism. I mean, I know you're going to say it's not that
really
great. I know. Look, hear them, but it's still way better than others in your zone.
I eat clean.
Yeah.
I'm eating cleaner now the past week than I was 2 weeks ago. My girlfriend likes to bring out little desserts at night, and she runs 5 miles a day, so she can do it. I can't. At my age, I can't knock it off that quick. So I want to cut back. I was 224 today. I think it's too heavy. I think 215 is better.
Right.
Even 212 might even be better now. But it's hard at my age to start eliminating body fat. It's just hard. I cut the carbs down, and then I get lightheaded and feel shitty, and then I need to have some carbs, and you got to find a fine line how much to have and when, and then what days off and when to bring it back, and it's a science.
Well, it's something that I learned in recent years. I keep those carbs up, but as we talked about last time I was here, I'm a calorie guy, so I don't necessarily cut the carbs all the way down. For me, diet does not equal low carb.
Right.
Okay, for me, a diet or menu control, eating control means, and body fat loss means I'm going to cut my calories incrementally and methodically, but I still keep in protein, carbs, and fats in a proper ratio, and it ends up being higher carb for me.
The theory of dropping your carbs and taking proteins and fats, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
It worked for us.
Yes.
And I believe it still works. The body's still the same as it was 50 years ago. But that was a pretty decent diet, because by having the fats, you didn't really crave foods.
Right. It satisfied your hunger long
It did.
term. That's what fats do.
Yeah.
Absolutely true. And I've done it that way, and it's felt good. The part for me that wasn't very pleasant was the after effects later on, once the competition had passed, or the goal date or the end result had passed. The cravings for those carbs all of a sudden hit.
Yeah.
And there was a rebound, whether or not it was metabolic or just mental. Going for those carbs and even sugars was very, very strong. That drive to have it.
And what happened?
And I put weight on quite a bit. Yeah.
Well, what kind of weight?
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah. Not good weight.
That brings me to a point. I was told by many people over the years, bodybuilders, current bodybuilders, that, and I didn't really even know this, that after a workout they would eat sugar.
Absolutely true.
Yeah. Let's tell them why.
Those glycogen stores, after we're done training, you've tapped them. So high intensity training, especially, you're blowing the glycogen out of the muscle. Glycogen is not necessarily protein. Glycogen is sugar stored up in the muscles.
Okay.
So muscle cells are storage cells as well as structurally movable tissue. So we need both some simple to digest proteins, right, as well as those sugars to go boom quickly right back into the muscles and spike the insulin a little bit so that we can get a quick rush of it to speed up recovery. So we want recovery to start happening immediately after training. So I agree with you. I go right for the sugars.
Do you take the protein with it?
Very easy to digest protein, like a whey protein isolate or an egg white, and mostly
and
sugar.
what form of sugar would you take after workout? I've read someone was doing gummy bears.
You know what? I've had candy.
Yeah.
I go too high and then too low too quick after that. I actually like to have white rice with banana and raisins.
Okay, that works.
And a small packet of whey protein isolate.
Okay.
I'll drink. So
there is a complex carbohydrate drink you can take. There's also waxy maize.
Waxy maize, yeah,
which is good for the same purpose.
Yes.
What do you take before you work out as far as foods?
I'm eating a meal. I train very early in the morning, and I have a half-size meal, which would end up being, maybe a couple of eggs and some toast. I made the effort to go gluten-free in this last year.
So did my daughter.
Yeah, my whole family actually.
I took her out to dinner, and she says, "I want a gluten-free beer." And she's 22, and she looks like she's 12. And so they didn't even card her. I said, "Why didn't they card you?" She says, "Well, I'm with you. You're my dad." They weren't going to say anything. So she got the gluten-free beer, and she said, "This is pretty good. It tastes like beer," because it was beer. And I had a sip, and it was.
Right.
And I got the bill, and it was $11 for the bottle. I almost wanted to make her pay for it.
That's the problem with gluten-free.
Yeah.
It's the prices. So,
yeah.
But, yeah, I would have some toast, maybe with some jelly or a half a banana along with it. So I actually try and get a little a mini meal in early in the morning.
Right.
And then I train. That's the way I've been the strongest.
I agree with you. You got to have fuel. You can't run a car without gas.
No. So, and the workouts that I do, as we talked about last time, they're high intensity in nature. They're short. I need that blood sugar.
Yeah.
Being a natural guy, the workouts that I do, I keep down to a minimum, the minimum amount necessary to get the maximum stimulation, and then I have to start recovering.
Okay.
I only work out. I am originally from the Mike Menser. Mike Menser was a teacher of mine, a trainer. He trained me back in the mid-'90s, and so heavy duty was a big-time influence on me.
What days off?
I train one day, and then I'll take off 3 days, and then train again. I do the opposite of the 3 on, 1 off.
You got that recovery time. You must come back like a ball of fire.
Each workout is like an event for me. So that's the important factor, is that a workout for myself and my training partner becomes an event rather than something a little bit mundane or like practice. Mm-hmm. We don't have workouts where we go to the gym and we say, "Wow, we trained really hard those last 2 days. We'll lighten it up today and just get a pump like this." Mm-hmm. I don't need that. Mm-hmm. For me, my head, I don't need that. I know I look pretty good. Well, I know, first of all, I look mainly like an athlete walking around. Right. This is a natural, I'm a natural professional bodybuilder.
I got you.
And I know I look like an athlete walking around in my clothes, but when it comes off, when I'm on stage, hopefully it comes across. Hopefully you'll show them some pictures too.
Well, I will. I was just talking about that with somebody yesterday. Remember who it was? We were talking about guys in the gym that are big and they take their shirts off and they don't look good.
Right.
And guys who are small will take them off and they're ripped because you can't tell under that shirt what kind of shape they're in. But even back in the days of Frank Zane and some of the guys that were smaller, they wore big baggy shirts. And when they took the shirts off, they were just ripped to shreds. Where you had the big powerlifters in the gym that look huge in a sweatshirt, and they also wear 2 sweatshirts and a t-shirt because they wanted to look big, but they took it off, it was just a bunch of flab, and you can't flex fat.
You can't flex fat, and then to me the big deal about that is it's insecure.
Yeah, of course it is.
You know, you're trying to be big in the gym. That means nothing to me.
No, nothing.
You know, I'd much rather have it that my wife, you know, she gets to see the real show.
Yeah.
You know, and I break out these guys just for shows. A couple times a year, I break out the legs.
Yeah.
You know, but they don't get to see everything, but a couple times a year.
Yeah.
You know, and that way I can actually see changes that happen by the contests that I do. You know, so I'm not showing it all the time, but I dress like this all the time, loose shirts.
I do too. I don't. Well, this one's a little tight, but I gained some weight. So.
I know. Well, I thought you put on some muscle there, Rick.
I'm training hard. You know, I mean, I have a ton of injuries, as you know. This shoulder shot. This one's on part 2. In both knees, I've been getting injections of Synvis and getting them drained. So it's hard. I mean, I'll be 70 next month, and it's. I can still train hard, but it's not like it was 40 years ago. You know, I got to go through the pain of getting up and getting into the gym, and I do every morning. I'm in a lot of pain, and by the time I get there and loosen up, I start to feel better. On a day that I don't train, I feel horrible. You know, it's my medicine going into the gym, and for you guys too. You know, it just mentally clears you out, and physically and mentally, it gives you a better start for your day.
Yes, yes. I want everybody who's watching this to understand too that Rick, as well as all of the golden era bodybuilders, to me, you know, I have much respect for them. They were the original inspirations for me and a whole generation of bodybuilders, and it's inspirational even now that regardless of the pain or the injuries that he has, he still goes. He tells me about the workouts that he has, pumping it out every day, getting in that gym, and it's not just for your head. You actually feel better. At least temporarily, you're going to feel better. You can sit on the couch and be in pain, or train for a while and get relief.
That's the thing. If you don't use it, you lose it.
Yes.
And every one of my doctors, my orthopedics, and all the guys that are working on my joints are telling me, if you sat at home, you wouldn't be able to do what you're doing. This shoulder's completely frozen, but I can do laterals and presses. Yes, I'm surprised you could even shut the door in your car. I said, well, I use this arm. But because you go to the gym and you train, and I don't go train heavy, keeps the mobility in the joints. And then the Synvis shot, as you know, it's a gel they shoot into the knee, and it lubricates it because I have bone on bone. Now they can do my shoulder too. It's like putting WD-40 in there, you know, but sometimes that might even work. So whatever you do just to keep moving, and for you young guys that are training really heavy, beware. Age comes in, you get in your 40s and 50s and joints start to hurt. It might even hurt now, and then it gets serious. And you get serious arthritis and joint damage, and then that's it. So be careful.
Train smart. Train smart. I'm still able to train very well now. However, I have to emphasize that the guys that last the longest, that have the least injuries, they're not hanging and banging with the weights like they did at 20.
Yeah.
And when 30, 40, 50 hits, you need to be lifting the weight under control and controlling it, not letting it control you. So momentum has to be cut down. You just described how you could still do lateral raises, and you could. I guarantee you're not throwing that weight.
Oh no.
Right?
Nope.
So lifting it properly, not showing off. The whole thing about that insecure, everybody in the gym, watch me, watch me, watch me. That has to go out the window. Check the ego at the door. Lift the weight properly, and you'll end up having a beautiful physique.
I used to curl 65-pound dumbbells. Now I'm doing 25s, 30s, maybe 35 tops. Getting the same thing out of it I got out of the 65s.
Right. Because
the 35 can feel like 65, or 100 pounds can feel like 300 if you're doing everything correctly.
Right. Robbie talks about that all the time.
Does he?
Yes, he still does. Online. He's online all the time talking about it. So controlling the weight, using it like a bodybuilder does.
Right.
We're talking bodybuilding now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm about. I'm not about.
Well, my roots were powerlifting, and that's where it began with the squat, bench press, and deadlift. And I had a good bench at 455. Now I do a machine. I get the same thing out of it that I did with the bench. It's like, okay, no pain.
Right.
Because these things grind like celery when you're doing that stuff. Let's talk about your book.
Yes.
You have a book.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about this book and where it's available.
All right. It's called the Mr. America Shape Up Series, and it just came out a couple weeks ago, and it's available on Amazon.com. It's in 12 different countries. So it might be Amazon.ca if you're in Canada, or AU if you're in Australia. Okay, but it's on Amazon.com, as well as independent booksellers. That's who I signed the exclusive contract with, is Amazon. So look it up on Amazon.com, the Mr. America Shape Up Series. You can actually just search my name, John Hart, spelled like the heart.
H-E-A-R-T.
Yes. On Amazon, and it'll pop up as well. And it's reasonably priced. It could be anywhere from $16 to $20. You know, Amazon plays with the prices a little bit.
Sure they do, yeah.
And in it, what I did was I wanted to give as much as possible information-wise. I get asked so often when I say something like, well, I work out one day and then I take 3 days off. And people go, "This, come on." So I wanted to give out the details on how I do that. So I used myself as the model for an entire year. And I went from being out of shape to, you know, near contest shape at the very end. And step by step, I broke it up into 5 phases. So there's 5 parts to the book that are in there. And throughout that year, I used myself as the model, and I broke down the details on the training that I did, how I rotate, the different techniques that I use, the eating, and how I adjusted the calories as well along the way. So, and I do make the analogy on how I would use it for a client. If it's not me, it's a client.
Right.
So it's not just all about me throughout the entire thing. But the main objective was to get a lot of information out, and it's packed into a small little book, but it gets out the details, and it leaves that the simple things I didn't do. I didn't say how to do a bench press or how to do a squat.
There's no need for that. No.
Yeah. So that, if you want to go and count calories, you know, use a calorie counter. There's websites and apps on our smartphones to do that. You know, 4 calories per gram of protein. I didn't go into that. You know, 9 calories per gram of fat. Those things the end user has to figure out on their own. But the main body of information is so applicable to anybody who wants to get in their best shape possible, and in 1 year you can totally transform yourself. So I took the details of how I use it on myself and on my clients, and I put it right into the one book.
Good book to have, a good reference book if you're going to work out and you want to know what to do. It's funny because we were talking about cardio, and I went on the bike the other day. I can't do the treadmill now because of my knee.
Right.
So I'm on the bike and I do 20 minutes, and I look down and say I burnt 64 calories. That's one cookie. That's one cookie. Is it worth it?
Not really. Not really.
One cookie I burned.
Not really.
So it's basically, you know, you have to look in the mirror and look at your body. And the scale doesn't always tell you anything. Your clothes tell you pretty much how it fits you, and your pants are tight. You know, you got to drop weight.
Right.
You know.
Right. And you have to make a choice. It's either going to be your food or more exercise. Most times I choose to adjust and control my food. And then the last thing I'll go for, because again, I'm not an endurance athlete. It depends on the individual. The last thing I do is I plug in some cardio.
I have something to say about that before we close out. People say you can eat anything you want because you work out every day. It's not true. It's not true.
Not true at all.
I see guys in the gym that work out every day, and they do the treadmill, and they're still fat, and they'll always be fat until they readjust their diet.
Yes.
And they'll do the drugs, and all the drugs in the world is not going to knock the body fat off. It's going to make you hold more water,
right,
and you're going to get fatter, and it's just going to look worse.
They look big and fat. And you know what? Ask their girlfriends, or ask, you know, people of the opposite sex, or some people who are politically correct these days.
Yeah.
Just to ask anybody who would be interested in them, you know, how do they look? All big and puffy.
Yeah, they don't like it.
No. So
2 things.
Yes.
Number 1, Chet Yorton. Remember
yes, Chet Yorton. Are you kidding me?
He was very big back in the 60s and
Yes.
70s. He did Don't Make Waves with Dave Draper. He was a very, very well-known bodybuilder. Big
Yes.
guy. He's in his, I believe he's like 75 or older now.
Yes.
He's still doing some beach contests. And he's tan and he looks great. And I called him up for an interview. He's going to come talk to me because I always really, really respected him. He says, Rick, I train once every 3 weeks.
Wow.
Once every 3 weeks.
Wow.
Why? He says, that's all I need.
And that's just the idea. You should be thinking about what's the least amount that you need necessary to get the most out of your body.
I know.
You only can do so much. The wear and tear on your joints, if you do too much, you're just wearing things out.
My thing is, what am I going to do with the rest of my time when I go to the gym? I have nowhere to go.
Well, you know, you're going to have to
take
up a new hobby.
You got to find things to do. The other thing I want to say is drinking water, because
Yes.
we all should drink a lot of water. It's hard to drink a lot of water during the winter because you're not hot and thirsty, but you got to drink it. And I was told, and I'm sure you know, a gallon a day will help rid your body of a lot of things, including body fat.
Absolutely true.
So drinking water is not going to retain water. It's going to wash it through and take belly fat off. It's make your skin better, the whole
Absolutely
thing.
true. Absolutely true.
Now, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Because you know these things. If you're going to drink water, what if you don't have access to water? Is iced tea the same thing? Still liquid.
It's still liquid. It has some caffeine in it, so it has a little bit of a diuretic effect. I mean,
but it's still water.
If it's still water, I would drink it.
Okay.
I would have it.
It's a little more tasty than water.
Absolutely. In the absence of drinking plain water, I would have iced tea. I'm not a coffee drinker, so I tell people, see, the key word you're using is ice. Yeah. So I would have iced tea, iced coffee.
I like iced coffee.
Because your body has to heat up.
But you're not going to drink a gallon a day of either one of them.
No.
But my iced tea melts and I put ice in it, it gets real diluted and still like water. I'll take it on the road with me and I sip it, a big glass, and I'll have it all day. To me, it's like drinking water.
Absolutely. Have it. You have to have it.
It's flavored water.
It'll hydrate you. It will. Absolutely will.
And there's one more thing. There's a place down at the beach where everybody goes to eat in Venice after they work out, and it's a red building, but I don't want to mention the name of it. They've raised their prices, and I went 2 weeks ago, and I got an iced tea, and the iced tea was $3.50. I said, that's it, I'm done. I'm not eating here again. I'll bring my own. That's flavored water.
Flavored water.
Jeez. Well, anyway, I want to thank
Yes.
you for being here.
No, thank you, Rick.
And check out John's book, John Hart. And where can they find you on the internet?
It's you can get me at intenseheart.com. That's my website. And spell it again, INTENSEHEART. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. You can go through World Gym World Gym.
Or you can go, World Gym, or you can go to my Facebook, and he's my friend on Facebook as well. But check the book out and check him out. He is natural. He's been tested. It's been proven. It's USDA beef, if you want to go that route. And he is natural, and that's what you guys wanted to see, and that's why I have him here. And I think it's really admirable that someone will go to these lengths to look good without doing drugs. It's really something to see.
Yes.
Okay.
It's fun.
See you guys next time on Rick's Corner. Stay tuned. Watch John next time. I'll have him back again. Go to his website and look him up. Buy his book.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
It's rickdrasin.com. He is the equalizer, baby. See you next time.